Guys, I'm gonna tell you, I ain't never seen so much politics being involved in who's going to host a game show. Because as you guys know, Jeopardy is looking for a new host to replace Alex Trebek, whom unfortunately passed away last year from pancreatic cancer, I believe. Now, first things first, right? Like, you can't replace Alex Trebek. The man is a legend, okay? He was the GOAT of game show hosts, right? I remember growing up watching Jeopardy with my grandmother. It felt like so long ago, but also not that long ago at the same time, right? That was one of my favorite childhood memories, is watching Jeopardy. Now, I don't watch Jeopardy anymore because I don't watch TV, right? YouTube is my TV, right? YouTube is my TV. But, you know, like I said, a lot of people still do watch Jeopardy. And because the game show is so iconic, you know, people have been paying attention to who's going to replace him as the host. Now, Jeopardy has been using a lot of guest hosts, okay? And having them come in on rotation to host the show. And I'm assuming they collect data from the viewership numbers to see, you know, who is the audience like, right? Who's going to attract, you know, the largest audience, you know, who is the most qualified person for the job, right? That's what they're looking for. Because at the end of the day, I mean, it's about the money, okay? It's about viewership. So obviously, you know, with this being so high profile, things are going to get political. And let me tell you, boy, this right here is a political hit job, as the host that they did choose to replace Alex Trebek, Mike Richards, has stepped down as Jeopardy host effective immediately, right? And the reason why is because the woke mob has come after him, because a lot of them were upset that Levar Burton, who's an actor and who happens to be a black man, did not get the gig. And essentially what was happening here, guys, is that when the dude got selected, the woke revolutionaries, the woke media, basically went on a search of archives to see if they could find anything that they could to tear this man down, to try to get this man out of his job. And that's literally what is happening here. And it is really sad to see. So I'm gonna summarize this article because I really don't want to read the whole thing. Okay. Mike Richards, he stepped down after some offensive and sexist comments had resurfaced from a podcast that he did in the past. Now, again, there was controversy regarding him being selected in the first place because a lot of people wanted Levar Burton to actually take the job, right? And a lot of people had criticism for the fact that Mike Richards was an executive producer, and they think that he wasn't necessarily chosen, but he chose himself, right? He was a part of the selection process to give himself the job. That's what a lot of people think. And look, that's entirely possible. That's entirely possible. But when we start talking about the ratings, I think that the ratings clearly shows, you know, why the dude was chosen. So basically, there was a discrimination lawsuit that basically popped back up in which he allegedly discriminated against pregnant women. And, you know, there was some workplace harassment or something like that on The Price is Right, right? When he was doing The Price is Right. And then there also was some comments that he made on a podcast called The Random Show that he did in 2013 to 2014, in which The Ringer basically went and found some disparaging remarks that he made about Jews, women, and Asians, okay? So those things came to the light, and that is what led to Mike Richards deciding to step down, basically saying that, hey, well, I don't want to be a distraction, right? I don't want to take away from the show, so I'm gonna step down. And he's still gonna maintain his role as a producer, I believe. But essentially the woke mob got him, right? The woke mob got him. Now, my problem with this is that the woke mob is complaining about a selection that really was a selection that seemed to me to be based off the numbers, right? Because at the end of the day, like I tell you guys, it's about money. It's about viewership. Look, would I like to see Levar Burton get the gig? Sure, right? Honestly, I really don't care. I just want the best person for the job, to be quite honest with you. But it'd be nice to see the man get the gig. However, man, his ratings were trash, right? I'm sorry. They were. Because Richards had basically one of the highest ratings out of everybody except one other person. Okay, there's only one person that beat him out. And Richards' score was a 5.9. Okay? But Burton, though, his ratings was a 4.4, which was a record low, right? A record low, right? So basically, nobody watched when LeVar Burton was hosting the show. Now, the mainstream liberal media goes out here and says, well, it's because the Olympics, right? Right? They're making up all kinds of excuses, even though nobody watched the Olympics, right? The Olympics ratings were at an all-time low. Nobody watched the Olympics, okay? Now, to be fair to LeVar Burton, could it have been bad timing for him? Maybe, right? Maybe it was bad timing. Who knows? But at the end of the day, they basically went with the man that had been there, right, as a producer, and he actually had the second highest ratings on the show, right? And the only dude that beat him out, right, the dude that beat him out by like 0.1 was a former Jeopardy champion who I think was the first person to guest host after Alex Trebek passed away. So obviously, you know, if he's hosting from the beginning, that guy is going to have really high ratings, right? Because people are going to tune in and see, okay, who's replacing him, right? The nostalgia, you know, all that good stuff. So with that being said, it seemed like, again, they kind of picked the guy that got them the best viewership and that knew the game show, knew the company, knew all that stuff, right? And listen, I haven't watched Jeopardy with LeVar Burton, but I heard that he wasn't all that great. So, I mean, the thing is that the woke mob is simply outraged because a black man didn't get the job, even though, again, he was not the most qualified. And that's what really pisses me off about this, because it's just like, why do you try to ruin a man's life because your guy didn't get the job? That's literally what it's about. Okay, now, that doesn't mean I endorse anything that Mike Richards said. Obviously not. If he made disparaging comments, hey, that's a bad thing. But should he lose the job because he made some comments in the past? No. No, because every one of us has said some really probably not so nice things in the past. And if our prospective employers looked up and knew what we said in the past, none of us would have jobs. None of us will have jobs, right? Now, what this guy said, he said it on a podcast and stuff like that. And, you know, he was allegedly, you know, discriminating against women in the workplace. But again, this stuff was over 10 years ago, right? It's almost a decade ago that this stuff happened. How long can time pass before you get a mulligan, before people say, you know what, those comments was made a long time ago? But you don't get that. You don't get that with a woke mob. You know, and again, like I said, I'm not trying to defend whatever Mike Richards might have said in the past. I am simply tired of this cancel culture where, you know, people want to look up every little thing that somebody did bad or said bad in the past and use that to try to tear down that person and their livelihood because they're salty about something. They're mad because that person got a job over somebody else. When clearly, it seems to me that Jeopardy picked the person that viewers seem to like the most, right? Yes, LeVar Burton has a fan base online. You know, he had people fill out polls and surveys saying that they wanted him to host. But if people are just not watching him, then they're just not watching him. And that's how the woke mob works. They love to support you online, but when it comes down to actually supporting you, like watching your actual show, right, they don't do it. They don't show up. And then they want to complain, right? It's the same thing with the WNBA, right? Woke mob always goes out here talking about gender equality, women's equality, women's pay. But they won't show up to watch the WNBA, right? They won't watch women's basketball. But they the loudest. Oh, women should get paid equally. Okay, we'll show up and watch women's basketball so they can get paid equally. Because that's how they get paid. It's for viewership. It's the same thing in this situation, right? If LeVar Burton was the best person for the job, people would have watched, right? But people didn't. It is what it is. So we will see moving forward what will happen in terms of Jeopardy and you know, whoever they choose to guest host. I'm assuming they're going to do another rotation of people, see who has the highest ratings, and go from there. But we'll see. Hopefully the woke mob won't cancel the next person. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.